everybody and welcome back to the channel. My name's Leora and I talk on here about books, reading, writing and sometimes other stuff as well. And today I'm back with another video because today I'm going to be seeing how much of my 2022 TBR I have actually read. And I feel like it's going to be bad. I feel like I have barely read any of it because, well, you know, mood reader struggles. First off, before we start the video, I want to thank you guys for 30k. This is beyond my wildest imagination. I know all booktubers say that, but like I said in my sappy Instagram speech as well, it's genuinely beyond my wildest imagination and I'm so happy you're all here and you watch my content, and it just makes me really happy to create stuff for you guys on here and be creative. I also briefly want to mention I have a really cool sort of winter reading days, fantasy reading, Christmassy vlog coming up and I'm so excited about it. But I've been feeling a little bit under the weather recently, and since I'm not feeling great today, I didn't feel like spending like 12 hours editing because I usually like to really take my time editing vlogs. So that's going to be coming next week, hopefully. But for this week, this video's here, so I really hope you guys enjoy this as well. And to thank you all for 30k subscribers on my channel, I want to do a little giveaway on this channel. So if you want to know what that giveaway is all about and what kind of cute stuff I'm going to be giving away, it's stuff from my web shop, then definitely watch to the end of this video to see how you can win and participate. Now, with that all out of the way, let's get into the actual video this week. So I have my iPad right here and I'm going to be looking at my TBR that I filmed at the beginning of this year. I don't film a lot of TBRs because I already know that I'm bad at reading my TBR. It's just not something I do. Because I just tend to read what I feel like reading because I'm such a huge mood reader, and it's actually up to the point where I can try reading a book that I'd planned to read because I'd planned so, but then if my mood is like not for that particular book, then I can end up like not liking it, even though if I read it at a time where I was in the mood for fantasy, I could have ended up loving it. It could have been a new favourite, you know, so that's why it's always a struggle for me. Okay, I'm scrolling all the way back through all my videos. Geez, I make a lot of stuff. And here we are, books I really finally want to read this year. Did I read them? I'm already nervous. Grabbing my AirPods to be totally ready. This really cute case was made for me by my friend. Please, love you. Really hope they're gonna connect straight away because sometimes these throw a tantrum. Okay, I'm all set up. I'm ready to watch this. It's really funny already to see like my hair is so different than it was last year. Well, it's literally the same, it's just not blonde anymore. Anyway, let's watch this video. Today I want to talk about some of the books I really want to read in 2022. It's not very likely for me to actually read them. The way I already put that disclaimer in there. Hi everybody, and welcome back to my booktube channel, Books with Leo, and if you're new here, hello, my name's Leora and I make videos about books. A lot of these I do feel confident about the fact that I will actually pick them up and read them this year, but you never know with me because I get very distracted and then I see some. Here's the mood reader speech just coming up really again. Interested in, and then I end up reading those, and you know, that has happened to me before on several occasions. Okay, here's the first book. This year, and that could be now or maybe more in the fall time, but I did borrow this book from a friend, so. Oh, I think I actually read this one! Right, that is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio. I had read the first chapter of this book and I actually liked the first chapter, so that bodes well for me. However, I did not continue my read. I do really want to read this book. It is a dark academia book and I think it is about a man who's just served 10 years for a murder. Okay, I'm so proud of myself right now because I actually did read that book. I've seen some other booktubers do this video as well, and they had like a little notepad where they wrote down which books they'd read and which they hadn't. So I saw that and I was like, I'm gonna do that too because that seems just like a lot more fun. This one goes in the red pile, I guess. Yay, go me. So the book I'm talking about here is If We Were Villains by M.L. Rio, and I'm really happy that that is the book that I chose for this video because it was indeed one that had been on my TBR for such a long time and that I just didn't pick up. So I'm really excited I did pick it up this year. It was one of the first books I picked up in full time because I was like, I shouldn't really get to this at this point. And also my friend that I borrowed it from, she was like, read the book or give it back to me, and I was like, okay, sure, I mean that's fair. So this is a dark academia story about a bunch of kids. One of them ends up dying mysteriously. They're all Shakespeare students at this art school, and there's also dancers there and like other art students, and it's a really good book. I especially liked the dynamics between the characters and especially the tension build-up of all the characters, and their interpersonal connections were so good. I have made a reading vlog about this as well, so if you would like to see my more in-depth thoughts on this book, then definitely check out out that vlog because it was a really nice vlog that I enjoyed making, and I did really enjoy this book. I'm so proud of me. Like, actually the fact that I read one of them makes me already like way too happy and excited. Let's watch the rest of the video. The way I'm so smug right now for no reason at all. I read one book, go me.
Not sure if I'll actually get to this one, but I really want to, and that is The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is the conclusion to the Scythe series.
Oh, I have not read that. Bye guys, I'm a bad reader! Okay, so this is the book I was talking about. It is The Toll by Neil Shusterman, which is part 3 in the Arc of a Scythe series. I was obsessed with this series when it first came out. I absolutely loved it, but it's been so long now since I read the first 2 books that I feel like I should reread them to be able to understand what's going on in this one, and I don't feel like doing that. So it's basically about this world in the future where all problems have been solved. There's no poverty, there's no other struggles going on in the world. Nobody dies anymore, like everything seems to be perfect, but I can tell you already, it's not perfect. And this is really interesting science fiction because there is still this really looming sort of governmental threat, which is very common in science fiction, but then it also has a sort of fun twist to it, and it's just very fast paced and it keeps you on the edge of your seat. And it had a really interesting sort of philosophical tinge to it, which I really enjoyed personally. So in this world, there's a big government and they basically hire assassins, scythes, and they train them to kill people because people have to die, you know, certain people have to die, but there's nobody dying a natural death anymore. And we follow Citra and Rowan, who are both training to become a scythe. And yeah, their story progresses, lots of stuff is going down in the first 2 books. I don't want to spoil them for you, but definitely check this series out because it's really good. And you would say that I would be super pumped to read the conclusion to the series to know how it's all going to wrap up. And I was super pumped 2 years ago, but then this finally came out and I was still super pumped and I bought it and then I just sort of forgot about it. So I ended up never reading it. And I do still want to read it, but I'm just like not sure what is the best way to go about it because, like I said, I don't remember what happened in the first 2 books, so maybe I should just see if I can find a good summary online. But at the same time, there's like a lot of other fantasy and like sci-fi that I'm more interested in reading right now, so... But I do feel like it would be good, you know, to finish a series and not be in the middle of like 1,000 series again. It's a lot less exciting if I get to write down that I didn't read it. Anyway, it's 1-1 now. 1 book I've read and 1 I have not. Let's see.
That I would love to finally get to this year because...
Have also not read that.
By Mickey Kendall, and it says on the cover, "Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot."
I'm actually really upset I didn't read this because it would have been a great read for this year. Okay, so the next book I talked about is Hood Feminism by Mickey Kendall, and this is basically a call out to all white feminists, but especially me because I still haven't read it. When I read nonfiction, it's feminist nonfiction most of the time. It's really interesting to me to learn more about gender roles, and the structure of our society. And I really wanted to pick this up because it's about how to become a better feminist. And it's Notes from the Women White Feminists Forgot. So I feel like this would really round out my feminist reading. And it says on the back as well, the feminist intervention we have all been waiting for. Mickey Kendall is calling out white feminists here, and it's long overdue that we drop our defences, listen to her arguments carefully, and then change our entire way of thinking and behaving. In the growing public conversation about race, class, status, privilege, and power, this text is essential reading. And it's essential reading I have still not done. Oh, I swear, I'm bumping this up to my TBR because I need to read it. When I do feel like reading some nonfiction again, this is the first thing I will gravitate towards. I've also heard that chapters in here on poverty and on being pretty and pretty privileged, education, but also on murdered and missing black women are really, really good. So this is a book I really want and need to pick up as soon as possible. Wish me luck, guys. Please give me one I've read.
Book I would really like to read this year is the...
No! I've not read that one either! Okay, so the next one on the list was The Heart Principle by Helen Huang, which I've also not read. Go me! So this is a romance book by one of my favourite romance authors, Helen Huang, who writes really spicy but like still heartfelt romance that tugs at your heartstrings. I'd read The Kiss Quotient by Helen Huang last year and I was obsessed with it. So I was like, in the next year, I'm going to be reading this one. And yay, I will read it and it will be great. And then I didn't read it, so I don't know if it's great. It's about a violinist called Anna Sun. She accidentally achieves career success with a viral YouTube video, but it turns out that she's getting burned out from all the success, and then her longtime boyfriend says, I want an open relationship, and it feels like her whole life is crumbling around her. And then she meets a resident bad boy who might help her to open up the relationship indeed. I'd heard that this might also just like make you cry, and it was really heartfelt, so that's why I wanted to know what was up and whether it was any good, and it did sound like a lot of fun to read this. So it's definitely still my TBR, maybe more something for like the springtime, I don't know. I've just not been in the romance mood either recently. Currently it's 3-1, so I'm not doing great, but I also did expect to not be doing great. I mean, I did read almost 100 books this year, just not these apparently. Why do I even bother?
I would really love to read this year is The Bride.
Ah, I've read this! Go me! The next one on my list was The Bridesmaid's Survival Guide by Hannah O'Donnell. This is also a romance book. It's young adult and it's by a referee, and she gets dumped 2 weeks before the marriage of her Aunt Em, and she's really disappointed because she was supposed to take a date to the wedding, but then she crosses paths with this tall, really nice boy that is always around the wedding. I think he works for like the wedding organizer or something like that. I'm not entirely sure. And they have a thing going on, and you know, it's a romance. It was a really good time. I did enjoy reading a romance with a more plus size protagonist. I think that's really important to be recognized in romance, to be happening more. By the way, I also designed this book cover. I'm an illustrator and I made these. So that was also really exciting, and I still love having this book that I illustrated for in my bookcase. I also illustrate some really cute chapter headings and stuff, so it's just been nice to read it and, you know, to see that in action, I guess. And it was a really fun, cute romance. I think I did a more in-depth review in a recent wrap-up. I think it was in April this year. So I'll link that, but yes, I did read this and I did enjoy it. I can already see I didn't read this next one.
The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. This story just sounds so intriguing to me, and I think it will be a story that will stay with me for a long time. That's also what I've heard of friends.
Oh, I'm so upset actually I didn't read this. I've been at the point of almost picking this up so many times, but I never did. So the next book on the list was The Vanishing Half by Britt Bennett. So this is about two sisters who both grow up in this small town. They are inseparable as children, but as they grow up, they kind of grow apart. Despite being identical twins, one of them looks more white and the other one looks more black. And they both sort of live a black and a white life. So all the way across the country, one of them secretly passes as white and has a white husband, and he knows nothing of her past, and then the other one still lives with her black daughter in the same southern town that the first sister tried to escape. And it goes from the 1950s to the 1990s. It's about family, race, family relationships, and the lasting influence of the past as it shapes a person's desires and expectations. It just sounds so good and so interesting, and like a book that will teach me something but that will make me emotional at the same time, like a beautiful story. And oh, I need to pick it up so badly. I am putting this at the front of the stack so I don't forget about it. I think that's also an issue with me a lot of the time. I just forget. I'm really not doing a great job. I should just stop setting TBRs for myself because I don't end up reading them anyway.
This is the last one we're going to talk about today. I also really want to pick up The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller this year. Not entirely sure if I actually will pick this up, just because...
That's just excuses. Excuses. Yeah, so, I mean, it's excuses I'll use again now because I have not read The Song of Achilles by Madeline Miller. Like I said in the video, I read Circe, didn't like it a lot, so I didn't feel too much like picking this up, but since it's been on my TBR for such a long time, it should be pushed up a bit so I can finally read it. Greece in the Age of Heroes. Patroclus, an awkward young prince, has been exiled to the court of King Peleus and his perfect son Achilles. Despite their differences, the boys develop a tender friendship, a bond which blossoms into something deeper as they grow into young men. But when Helen of Sparta is kidnapped, Achilles is dispatched to distant Troy to fulfill his destiny. Torn between love and fear for his friend, Patroclus follows, little knowing that the years that will follow will test everything they hold dear. I do have to say, I'm usually not great with Greek mythology, so I think that's maybe also why I've held off on reading this one, because a lot of the times Greek mythology just doesn't really hit home with me. I'm not sure what that is. Just don't really connect with it in the way I wish I would. Oh, this has been so embarrassing. I was saying this in this video as well, that I'm not great with Greek mythology. Then why did you put it on the TBR, you stupid girl? 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. So out of these 7 books, I've managed to read 2, and I've not read 5 of them. Guys, please don't come for me in the comments. I'm so sorry. I'm just not great with TBRs and I should stop making them, probably. But you know, it's just like fun to discuss books you're really excited about reading, even if you don't end up reading all of them. I am planning on reading all of these. Actually, this is the only one I'm doubting. I don't know if I'll end up liking this. If you really liked it and you think I should really pick it up, then definitely let me know. Same goes for any of the other books in this pile. If you feel like I should read them right this second, let me know why. And then here's my little giveaway announcement. If you would like to win some of the stuff in my web shop, you get to pick 3 items for free and I'll ship them to you for free as well. Subscribe to my channel and let me know in the comments down below why you'd love to win this giveaway. Thank you guys all so much for the support and love my channel has gotten over the last few years. And yeah, I'll see all of you in my next video. Bye!